We now continue with more of the Mark Milton Show with The Smash on 590 The Fan and 590thefan.com.
Milty and The Smash.
This is Milty and The Smash, the Mark Milton Show with The Smash, broadcasting from the Miller Furniture Studios in Kirkwood. Smash. Last segment, we talked about my fishing journey down in Branson.
Yes.
Actually checked out a new bass tracker at the Bass Pro Shop, and I was thinking about
Bass tracker.
how great that would look. A boat, a little fishing boat.
A bass tracker?
That's the name of it. And I was thinking to myself, man, if I bought this, I'd have to add this to my insurance policy.
Good point.
And I thought if I had to, I could give Kevin Wingebock, State Farm, a call right this second.
Yeah.
Say, hey, man, I'm hitching this thing to my truck. I'm bringing it home. Can you make sure it's insured? And I know that Kevin would have taken good care of me because Kevin takes good care of me. And all my insurance needs, home, life, auto, whatever you need, Kevin Wingebock, State Farm Insurance can take care of you. As I've said before, I used to get my insurance, home, auto through these internet insurance companies. Always thought, I was getting the best price and the best coverage. Come to find out after talking with Kevin, not only was I underinsured, but I was also overpaying. So I've now moved all of my stuff over to Kevin Wingebock, State Farm. You can find out more about him at SoCoInsurance.com. That's South County, like SoCoInsurance.com. Give him a call, get a free quote, check him out today. I didn't end up getting the boat, by the way, because they were out of stock. That would have also amplified my trouble at home as well if I would have showed up with
I was getting ready to say, you didn't get a boat because you didn't want the hassle.
That would have been.
Your wife would have. She would have.
It would have been a tough sell.
Yeah, I know.
All right, last time we said, socialism, giving people fish rather than teaching them how to fish.
Yeah.
The Democratic convention this week, some might say a socialist convention with all the Bernie Sanders and the AOC elements to it.
Sure.
They certainly tried to moderate and sort of bring it to the middle, as far as their messaging and things like that. What were some of your highlights, your takeaways from having watched the convention this week?
Well, I always, excuse me, I have a problem with Bill Clinton. And he was on there and heralded as, one of the great presidents, all that. And every time I see him, he did some really good stuff, but then all you can think about is Monica Lewinsky. So I look at him and I think, don't be telling people how to be in the Oval Office when you were doing what you were doing in the Oval Office. So I had a little problem with that. Other than that, I don't say it's in a bad way. Everybody got different levels of partying, but I would not have gone to that party because there was no party associated with it. Man.
Well,
it was
the virtual was very boring. It was like a really bad infomercial. The Republicans really have an advantage because I think they could see how that played out and maybe make some changes for this week. But I couldn't agree with you more on the Bill Clinton thing. I mean, actually, that morning, news broke. Those pictures were released of him getting massaged by one of Jeffrey Epstein's gals. And so, it's not the guy you want out there if you're trying to sell Joe Biden as sort of this,
he's not the
great character guy.
Obama did a good job, but he kind of lost it towards the end, I thought.
Obama talked about himself.
But he did a good job.
That was my takeaway. I agree with you, but I think it's an interesting dynamic because while Biden, I think, wants to try to take credit for things that were done during Obama's administration.
He has to.
I think Obama knows deep down that Joe didn't have anything to do with any of my successes because he's a total buffoon. That's my take on it. I don't think it's a great relationship. If it was a great relationship, then why did Obama wait until after Joe Biden had already essentially clinched the nomination to endorse him?
Why did Obama wait until after Hillary ran? He should have put Joe in there right after he got done with his time.
And that's exactly why I don't think the relationship is good because my understanding is Obama
Joe
told Joe,
aside.
I'm supporting Hillary.
Exactly.
Because I do think that there's no reason Biden wouldn't have pursued it at that point if he knew Obama was going to back him.
But they had Hillary, and Hillary had done her rap to everybody, and so the Dems had her in place, and, hey, Joe, I'm going to have to ask you to just step aside for a little bit. If it doesn't work out, we'll put you up next time, but this time we got to go for Hillary. But that's what I think happened.
I will say, though, I think Biden gave a pretty good speech. I was expecting some sort of
But you know what my problem with him was?
What's that?
He was reading the whole thing.
Well, right.
If you looked at his eyes, because you can tell if a guy's talking or straight up or if he's reading. And he was reading the speech. And that bothered me in that it made me think of the way that he's touted as being Sleepy Joe and falling asleep and all this kind of stuff. And it's kind of like he was reading the speech. It didn't, to me, seem to come straight from the heart, the gut, the mindset of, hey, I want to be your president. I'm just reading your speech, and I tell you what I always say on one of my other shows. And I always say, the guy must have gone to drama school in these 4 years because he knows how to go up and down, in and out, as far as the drama is concerned, as far as the hot and heavy is concerned, as far as the laying back is concerned. Bravo to you, Joe.
Well, he's been doing it for 40 years. So
yeah,
this
isn't
his first rodeo. Yeah. And I will say, I mean, up until that point, it was a very sort of nasty tone, I thought, to the whole thing with, early on, you had Obama and even Michelle Obama just really attacking Trump. I mean, they weren't so much praising Joe Biden as much as they were attacking Trump. And so this was kind of Biden's opportunity to say, hey, here's why I'm, such a better. I mean, the whole thing was sort of built around character. But that's why I have a problem. It's Joe Biden's character, to me, should be called into question. When you talk about the allegations of sexual assault and things like that, they just kind of gloss over those things. The stuff with his son in China. I mean, the fact that there was a devastating new ad put out by the Trump campaign. I don't know if you saw it.
I don't know.
It was literally half a dozen clips of Joe Biden talking about China and how great it is that China's on the rise.
Wow.
And how America should feel good about China, becoming a superpower. And then it pivoted from there to, Hunter Biden's making, $500,000 from a Chinese funded hedge fund or whatever that was. I mean, it was a very effective ad. And frankly, Joe Biden, it's just always been kind of a buffoon. I don't know if he's necessarily a high character guy. Mm-hmm. He's just sort of a jovial, sort of avuncular type who, you might want to hang out with him at a cocktail party, but I don't think that means he's qualified to be president necessarily.
Here's what I think as far as the women are concerned: Michelle and Mrs. Clinton, Hillary. Yeah. I thought she did a good job, by the way. Michelle, what bothered me about Michelle and all the women was that they're kind of beating up on Trump. The women more than the men beating up on Trump, because if Trump fires back on a woman, it's like the old deal. Oh, you beat up a girl, that kind of crap that we used to do when we were little kids, You could never hit a woman. But if a woman hit you, you got to be able to take it. So it'll be interesting to see how Trump handles this next week.
Well, and Trump, in my opinion, I mean, he's surrounded himself with very strong women, and the knock on him is he's a chauvinist, or he's threatened by strong women or powerful women. Hillary being the example, but it's his daughter is one of the most impressive people out there, and so I think Ivanka and Kellyanne Conway is another one who's been a huge supporter. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was a longtime press secretary. Kelly McEnany, who's the new press secretary. I mean, there is a long line of women who are very impressive, very strong, who are very pro-Trump. Yeah. So I think you'll see a lot of that this week at the Republican convention.
I hope they put some more energy into it. It didn't seem like there's any energy into this Democratic thing, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I didn't notice a lot. I was surprised they didn't have more Hollywood or celebrity
because they didn't want to play off of look, this is the party of the celebrities, because the common man, to use the term, don't want to see that.
But what's interesting about this, I saw the list of speakers for the GOP, and they're going to have Kid Rock and
Get out of here. Are they really?
James Woods is going to be there. James Woods.
James Woods, yeah.
He's one of the best. If you want to follow on Twitter of someone who just trolls the Democrats, James Woods is one of the best follows out there. So it'll be interesting. I definitely, I don't think that the Democrats or Joe Biden are going to get much of a bump out of that week of just because it was so boring, and I don't think a lot of people probably tuned in like they would have if it would have been a live.
Yeah.
Live event, because I think even the media is just not as into it. You think about most conventions, they're going to have live coverage inside the arena. It just makes it a much different production.
So you didn't like that kind of presentation, to use a term?
Well, and it was also awkward because some people were pre-recorded, but then other people were sort of live. Like even Obama, when he did his, was there was a little bit of a hitch there at the beginning. I don't know. It's just very. I think
awkward. It was all recorded, man. Sometimes you leave the hitches in there because that makes it seem real to those who are not familiar with the fact that it's recorded. Dave, am I thinking correctly here, producer?
Yeah, you're thinking pretty accurately there.
Okay.
Well, anyway, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I think Trump's speech, he's going to be doing it from the White House.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how.
It's going to be a formidable background as opposed to a bunch of flags. Maybe he'll have flags behind him, but he's in the White House. Those other guys are not. They're trying to get there.
Do you think Trump is going to win in November? What do you think is going to happen?
True. I think it's hard to tell, and I'll tell you why. Because these Republicans have really got themselves a leader who's unlike any other leader because, boom, he is not a politician, but he's got to play politics in his home or not building development business. There's a different kind of politic there. So he's not a politician's politician. Now, on the other side, the Democrats have really got to stir up a furor against Trump, and they can't send the rioters to the streets because that's going to set everybody voting for Trump. So it's a very tenuous time, I think, for the Democrats as it is for Republicans, because you got a candidate right there who's really kind of a nut in his own way. Trump is, man. I mean, he's really done some stupid stuff.
He has.
But at the same time, haven't we all? So that's the question you got to raise. Well, he's the president. He shouldn't be doing stupid stuff. Well, some guys run big companies and they're presidents and they do stupid stuff. This guy happens to be running a big company called the United States of America, and he's really done some stupid stuff.
Well, and obviously COVID has changed the entire dynamic, and I think the convention would have been an opportunity, but for COVID, for him to showcase all of the things that he's done. Cutting taxes, the economy, job growth, all those things, bringing jobs back to America.
I think he
building the wall. I mean, nobody really talks about that, but he is.
Well, how about Bannon with his BS on the wall, man? Did that ruin things or what?
Yeah,
that hurt us.
I mean, what a that's an interesting story. I actually saw that when I was out of town. On a
Chinese-man's yacht.
Well, when that came out, I remember thinking to myself, I remember seeing those commercials where it would say, we're going to build a wall, donate, text such and such to donate $10. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how can they privately fund a wall? Like, how would that work?
Yeah.
It's obviously like Homeland Security or whatever's going to be. So I was sort of skeptical of it from the start. And then I read some of the details in the indictment. And I guess what happened was the guy, whoever was running it, or whoever's the head of it, made statements saying, I'm not going to get a dime of this money. All this money is going to go towards funding this wall effort. And then the indictment alleges that through some back channels, they had basically funneled money to that guy. So that's where they get him on the fraud. So I think Bannon, probably lent his celebrity to this. I'm sure he was getting paid from the start. Hey, if I'm going to participate, I'm getting paid a consulting fee or whatever it might be, which would be legitimate. But unfortunately, he's looking at up to 20 years in prison now.
I know. Well, how about that guy who was his partner? Was that amputee? The guy who had.
That's the guy I'm talking about. That's the one who.
Well, how about his wife, man? Did you see what his wife was doing?
No.
So he's got this stuff with Bannon going. So now all of a sudden he's indicted and all that. And then his wife is posting on Facebook, and she's got quite a figure. Let me put it that way. And she's doing the Humpty dance on Facebook, all happy and everything. And it's kind of like, come on, lady, your husband's getting ready to get busted big time here. Because if they show that this in truth was some sort of scam, watch out. Everybody's going to jail and going for a long time.
Yeah, no, it's no good. Well, you probably don't need a border wall built, but if you need a movable wall system, look at that. Look at that.
You're the great Sager.
If you need a movable wall system, we got the people for you.
Mark Sager.
Ravensburg Incorporated. That's ravensburg.com.
Nice job.
They can do any sort of interior build out you may need for your office, for your institution, for your school, for your church, whatever it may be. If you need interior work done, check out ravensburg.com. They do specialize in movable wall systems, but they do so much more in terms of cabinetry, case working, whatever you need done. So be sure to give them a call. Check them out at ravensburg.com. When we come back, we're going to talk taxes.
Yep.
Because we've got the October 15th
that's right.
Deadline coming up. So I want to talk about that. Also want to talk about the IRS ramping up enforcement efforts here now that we're starting to come out of the COVID freeze. So we will talk about that when we come back. This is the Mark Milton Show with the Smash, broadcasting from the Miller Furniture Studios.